Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skibowski of RE/MAX Lakes, and welcome to the show.
Here we are!
Here we are, and you brought in some numbers.
I brought in lots of numbers.
Yeah.
Try and get the mid-year thing. You know, we kind of do an end of the year, and then we do a monthly as we go along, but middle of the year, it's a good place to look and see, hey, where are we at?
Yeah.
How are things going?
Right.
You know, you watch the national news, and, you know, with this COVID thing, who knew what the economy was going to do? Who
Right.
knew what the housing market was going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the predictions, they were anywhere from, you know, oh my God, we're going to fall off the end. It's going to be 2007, 2008, 2009 again. To where, oh, it's going to slow. To, oh, we're going to go off the charts. Well, it's closer to we're going off the charts in pockets.
Okay.
In pockets. So, you know, how and why, I don't know. We can talk about that. But if you look at, and you know, I always use that Warsaw 46580 zip code
Okay.
for our baseline.
Right.
Obviously, it's the largest population center, which is why we use it in the county. And by 46580, we kind of take out the lakes. I mean, obviously, we've got Winona Lake, Pike Lake, Center Lake in that zip code. But there's not a whole lot of those that sell, so we're not skewing the data. But year over year, in the Warsaw marketplace, we are up actually 14% as far as the number of units sold.
Wow.
Year over year. So again,
Yeah.
it's January through June.
Okay.
2019 compared to 2020, we're up 14% year over year on number of units sold.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
In a year like this.
With COVID, with essentially a lot of places shutting down from what, March through May? I mean, I think we finally started back, I forget what specific day it was when we got the, okay, you can partial open. But the changes that we've all went through, you know, we went to virtual showings, all of those things because people didn't want to be in houses and stuff. But yeah, the Warsaw market up 14%, that 46580 zip code. The volume is up 26% year over year, which what's that tell you? Prices went up, right?
Right.
The average price, and also, you know, it's a relatively small sample size. It's 150 houses, 154 versus 135. So, you know, 14%, that's a huge number. Well, it's 20 houses roughly, pretty significant, but there could have been some big ticket homes in there which drove that volume sold, that 26% change. The average sales price up 11%. Again, when you look at averages, it's probably due to one or two large sales, large price sales that increase that. But it's just amazing because who would have thought? You know, and again, I know I've said that numerous times, but I say it every day. You know, when I get called, I get asked a lot, how's the market? Well, it's great. What do you mean? How could it be great? You know, we're in the middle of this pandemic. You know, everything's shut down, now it's back open. How could it be where it's at? And I wish I knew the answer to that question.
Well, you know, and I'm not sure of the answer either, but what I feel, what my gut tells me is because the government made interest rates so low, that money was so cheap, that people wanted to jump on that and take advantage of getting whatever, a bigger home, a dream home, or whatever, you know, whatever it is that they were trying to get. They had that opportunity that they didn't have when rates were higher.
Yeah, well, it definitely made affordability a big deal when that interest rate dropped. I mean, we're seeing, you know, close to 3%, you know, 3.25%, 3% for a 30-year fix. That's outrageous. I mean, you're not going to see. Of course, we've said that over the last few years.
Right.
You know, a couple of years ago, well, our interest rates are 3.5%. We'll never see that again. Well,
Yeah.
guess what?
Yeah.
We're seeing it.
Yeah.
We're seeing it again.
Yeah.
But 15 years, I mean, 2.75% for a 15-year mortgage.
That's cheap
I
money.
mean, so, you know, the difference in payment for that is significant, going from let's say a 30-year fixed at 3% to a 30-year fixed at 4%. Their affordability is good, which, again, when you see rising prices, that's helpful for a buyer.
Yeah.
And when prices are going up, that affordability with a lower interest rate means they can afford more house or a higher priced house at that, you know, at the same payment. Why is that? Well, I can point to Lake Wawasee and some big ticket items up on Wawasee that have not sold in 2020 that in 19 we would have had those lake sales. And that's going to skew a lot of the county. Now again, it's a larger number of homes that have been sold, but it's still one or two big homes or big volume properties can really impact that.
Do you think that's because we got a late start with
I do.
the lake market?
I do. The lake market started slower to start the year. I mean, March, April, we weren't very busy. Well, I say that. I guess I've been busy in Warsaw, but as far as lake stuff goes, the traffic didn't increase until after Memorial Day.
Okay.
And usually Memorial Day we're pretty busy.
Okay.
But it didn't start until end of June. And you know, the way that it's going right now, real time, anything that hits the market on the lake, we are seeing multiple offers on, and they are going. Again, affordable lake homes, you know, and affordable's different for everybody. But, you know, I'm seeing them $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 houses selling with multiple offers very quickly.
Well, okay, so you know, everybody that I've talked to through this, they say that like the RV industry is through the roof. Anything that it has to do with like fishing or boating or family time, that you could do family time away from everybody else, that is really, really hot right now.
Yeah,
So I can see why the lake market would be,
it is.
turning up. All right, so we're going to talk more about this. We've got some other things we're going to talk about coming up here next. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Welcome back. This is Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skibowski of RE/MAX Lakes, and we're talking about the market overall through 2020. We just did a recap on the mid-year numbers, and it continues to be hot.
It's crazy, and I think it'll catch up. You know, even though the numbers for the whole county don't sound great, I really think based on what I'm seeing now with the pendings that are there, we're going to catch up. So I think it's going to flip, and it'll probably level out and be similar to 2019 is what will finish the year out when I look at the whole county.
Yeah.
If the rest of the year trend continues, right? And again, I know I'm making predictions. All I know is what I see going on the market, how quickly things are moving now or going contingent. They haven't closed yet, which is why I think you see the number being as poor as it is. Because again, the market started later. They were pended or contingent in June.
Yeah.
They haven't closed in June. But I would think when we look at July, we're going to see an improvement in that overall county number.
The lakes, in the lakes area.
And when I say the whole county, I think the lakes impact that significantly. Because standard residential, you know, what's the why? Why is all this stuff happening? Well, I have my own opinion on that. Again, this is not, scientific data. But when you think about it, we were trapped in our houses for a couple of months, right? A lot of people were working from home because we had the flexibility, the technology. The companies here jumped on board pretty quickly and said, okay, everybody stay home.
Right.
Radio station did it.
Yeah, we did it, yeah.
When we're in here recording, there's, it's pretty skeleton crew.
It has been, yeah.
A lot of offices have done that same thing, so I think we adjusted pretty quickly. But people realized that 3-bedroom house, they needed a fourth. They needed an office space. They needed space to work from home.
Okay.
The kids were home at school. We don't know what's going to happen this fall. Right now, the plan is kids are going back to school. But what if?
Yeah.
What if there's another surge? And I don't want to sensationalize like the national media does.
Right.
But what if there's a big increase and they end up, homeschool again, and the parents have to stay home again? People are looking for larger homes than what they were. That kind of reverses that trend. In the 2000s, everybody wanted the McMansion. 4,000 square foot, blah, 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 status symbol, whatever that was. But then we saw where kind of things were starting to downsize. Things were, people were buying a little bit smaller, and I say a little bit, they weren't buying 900 square foot houses, but 2,200, which is more than sufficient typically for a four-person family.
Sure.
2,200 square feet, more than enough room. I've sold houses that were 1,200 square feet and 3 kids. Mom and dad lived in that house, and the kids went to college or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I think we saw some downsizing, but I think we're reversing that trend. People want a little bit larger home, potentially with office space at home, thinking ahead. Now, that's Mark's opinion, but 4-bedroom houses don't stay on the market very long. That's all I can say. Right now, 4-bedroom houses are just flying off the shelf, and that's That part of the reason why, I think.
Well, I think a lot of businesses are going to, no matter what happens with the kids here this fall. I think a lot of businesses and a lot of employees are working from home. They're planning on working from home from here on out.
Right.
For a long time.
Well, a lot of them still haven't gone back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a later in July date that they're going to go back
Yeah.
to where they can actually come into the office. And some are either later than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the other thing, and you hit it on it a little bit earlier, was the interest rates.
Oh,
That it is so affordable right now. In fact, closings are being delayed due to the title companies not having any availability because of the number of refinances that are taking place. So if people are not buying, they're refinancing. Because why not go from a 4% interest rate to a 3 or 3.25% rate? The only thing I would caution people to do there is do the math on how long are you going to stay. And this is, again, it's not a huge mathematical calculation, but if your closing costs are $4,800, how much are you going to save per year or per month on your payment, right? If you got to pay $4,800 for closing costs. Well, if you're going to save $100 a month, it's a 48-month return on your investment.
Yeah.
It's better than that because of interest, but easy math, 48 months to return. If you're going to move in 2 years, why refinance?
Yeah.
If that is your plan to move in 2 years and that's your cost, so at least do that calculation.
Yeah.
How much are my closing costs? How much am I going to save a month? How long do I think I'm going to be here? If you're going to be in that house from now till the end of time, you know what? Refinance, save yourself the interest. Why not? But if there's a potential you're going to move in a year or two, think about that before you go. Just jump on board the bandwagon. Hey, interest rates are great. We need to refinance.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that you at least consider that before you do that and waste your money.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. But I can tell you, I did do a refinance, and the closing costs. I mean, for me, for my situation, very, very little. It was a low number than what I expected, and it's like, okay, if I could get that rate and my closing costs are next to nothing, I did dive in because
why not?
Because it made sense.
Well, and you don't plan to leave anyway.
No,
so,
I'm not. No, right, yeah.
Right.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
All right, very good. Well, hey, Mark, let's get your contact information.
Sure. Our website's lakes-realtors.com. Phone number's 574-834-1233. You can always email me at markskibowski@remax.net.
Okay. All right. Very good. And well, just one last note. When I did the appraisal for my house, it was the value of that shot way up. So,
rock on, instant equity.
Yeah. So you might want to take a look at the whatever property you're in. Might want to take a look at that and see the value there. All right. We got to go. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time.